Anyway, it's that time of the season again. Mid-season 11 patch has dropped. Let's see the top 3 winners for tank, top 3 losers for tank this patch. And we're going to do the same thing for the other roles for DPS and supports as well. But this patch is known as Tank Watch in my opinion. Tanks are incredibly broken. And I've been seeing some heroes absolutely go in full admin lobby admin mode, taking control over the entire lobby by themselves. And number 3, a tank that was already strong before this patch in my opinion, is Sigma. I don't understand why Sigma's Rock got buffed. It does a lot of damage right now, and it forces some huge cooldowns. I'm playing support, right? It forces huge cooldowns out of me to try and help somebody if they get rocked. I've been caught off guard a lot of the times whenever I'm seeing Sigma land a rock. It's just massive. Now, here's one thing. Sigma was good before, but right now I think he's even better. He just works in almost every comp. The only time when Sigma doesn't work in my opinion, and on any map, the only time when Sigma doesn't work that much is when you need him to like jump on high ground because the map has a lot of high ground and you need like vertical mobility and stuff. That's when you might want to stop away from a Sigma comp. But all in all, I think that Sigma is probably a tank that's going a lot under the radar. He's getting a lot of buffs in the last couple of patches from what I remember, like slowly but surely. But I don't know, I think he's really strong. I think he's really strong. Really strong. The rock damage just catches you off guard. Okay, at number 2, I'm pretty torn between number 1 and number 2. Sigma is like kind of like a safe pick, gotta be honest with you. But at number 2, I will have to put Ramatra. Ramatra is incredibly annoying to play against right now. All he has to do is just block. If he blocks, you barely scratch him. You have to invest so many resources in him, like to actually be able to melt through half of his HP. Because like what's gonna happen is he's gonna get to low HP, then he's gonna press shift, and I think he gets like what, 300 armor or something like that. And then he's gonna wait for his shift to be over, and then he's gonna press Q, and then he's getting again armor. It's a lot. And if you're playing like with a support, like with a DPS that doesn't have any mobility whatsoever, then he's just gonna throw his E at you, run at you, and start smacking you. I think against a 250 HP heroes, he just needs 4 fists, if I'm not mistaken, with not any other single source of damage from any other spot, to be able to land a secure kill. And that's a lot. Plus, it's the fact that he can do damage to shields, which is still like what was possible beforehand. But I do think that if he gets up and close and personal to you, he is literally unkillable. Almost unkillable, okay? It's not kind of like with Mauga lifesteal at 100%, but he is pretty hard to kill. Whenever I play against Ramatra, I'm seeing some weaknesses from him, obviously, if I can just keep the high ground. Like, literally just keep the high ground. Hopefully, they can't get to me on high ground, and then it's gonna be fine. But he's just like the raid boss right now. He's just the raid boss right now. Anyway, moving on. Wait for the transferring to be over. And the reason why he's this strong, Chad, is because of the armor changes and the fact that if he presses shift, he gets 300 armor from what I remember, and that is a lot. With a good combination between that and your ultimate, it's a ton. And now at number 1, in my opinion, the tank that I've seen taken over the lobbies, but not necessarily non-stop and insta-win, I have to put D.Va. D.Va's defense matrix went from 3 seconds to 3.5 seconds, and she does more damage with her rocket missiles. If D.Va decides to shift into you by yourself, if you're a DPS or you're a support, then you're gonna have a very hard time. Because I'm telling you, instead of trying to fight the D.Va, you better just focus on a hobby, spend 10,000 hours in it, then come back, and then her defense matrix is gonna be over. It is very hard to play against the D.Va right now. Your entire team, you have to play really far away from her or play with heroes that can bypass the defense matrix. Like, for example, I don't even know. I gotta play with a break against D.Va to a certain extent, right? Or I would, I don't know, play with heroes. The way I've seen in top 500 how we play around D.Vas is play with heroes that she cannot get value out of defense matrix. So, for instance, if my team has Illari, Ashe, right, or Echo or Pharah, and they pick D.Va, oh god, that's gonna be painful. But if we swap to other heroes, I don't know, to Venture, maybe to Tracer to a certain extent, then we're in a way better spot. We're in a way better spot in this situation. So you can play around these tanks and stuff, but if you just let them do their thing, they will completely go over you. Now, there are other tanks as well. I feel like almost every tank is incredibly strong right now, but I want to move on to the top 3 losers in this patch for the tank role. And this one's kind of tricky. I'll be honest with you. This one's kind of tricky right now because almost all tanks got buffs, or did all of them got buffs? I don't even know. I don't even know my top 3 on this. So I'm gonna put them side by side. The ones that I personally am not seeing that much being played in top 500, or the ones that we can kind of play around right now. Okay? And I know that you're probably gonna go like, huh, Mauga? Let me just arrange here like top 3 or 4. Hog is kind of uphill battle if I have one. Mauga is. I have not seen Orisa at all. I've had some games with Queen. I think it's fine. And Doomfist, I just think I have not seen a really good Doomfist player in the lobby right now. We've had a lot of Ramatra, a lot of Zarya, a lot of Diva, a lot of Reinhardt. So no, this is going to be my top 3. I think Doomfist is pretty okay overall with his shields and stuff right now with the change. Yeah, this would be my top 3, but it's pretty hard to see. Pretty hard to establish this because again, all tanks got buffed. But you know what? Let's just go with this. And number 3, top 3 losers for tank in the mid-season 11 patch, I would have to give it to Orisa. Right? I have not seen Orisa being played that much. With everybody just stacking a lot of armor right now, I think that she is a little bit underrated and that there are probably just cooler tanks to play at this moment, you know, that just do a lot of stuff and probably feel more satisfying to play like Ramatra or like Diva and stuff, or even like Reinhardt. I do think that Orisa is okay-ish though. I don't see her being played that much, but if you play Orisa with Baptiste and Brig, that's a lot of sustain to cut through. She's gonna do a lot of stuff, but the other tanks bring a little bit more rather than just raw damage. Yes, she will be unkillable, right, with a Fortify, with the armor changes. It's gonna be a lot, but you know how it is? Orisa was one of the tanks, and is still one of the tanks that I feel you can just kind of ignore in the team fight, right? You can kind of play around her. It's not like playing against a Diva that can just shift halfway across the map. I think she's stronger than before, but out of my own experience, again, I feel like she is, like Orisa's probably the one that hasn't received as many changes as the other tanks for sure, to make sure that she's going to become a little bit better in the meta. And number 2... okay, I'm a little bit personally confused with this. I'm a little bit confused with this because I think that every tank works now to a certain extent if you're playing the role really well. So if you want to pick a hero, I think that you can get away with almost every hero in the tank role right now. If your teammates also like adapt to your pick. But let's just go with it for the sake of it. I have to put Roadhog at number 2. Right? Roadhog at number 2. With the DPS passive working less against tanks right now, Hog did not get a buff to his tankiness, right? He got an indirect buff to his tankiness because the DPS passive is just like 10%. So like you're gonna vape, you're gonna walk around, but that's about it. Hog is in the same situation and has always been, I feel like, in the same situation as Orisa in this. Yeah, Mauga's the biggest loser. This is gonna be pretty, yeah, I'm gonna dive into that in a second. Whenever I have a Roadhog in my team chat, I feel like it's just like an uphill battle. Comments will be on fire. They will be on fire. I'm telling you. I'm even gonna show you the tweet, I think. Lord. Wait a second.
Ogabreed super chatted 77 cents. Your Windows update is ready.
I know, think with a heads up. So, the thing with Hog is that every tank that is played right now, I feel like can do a pretty good job against Roadhog. Like, even if you're gonna Hog ult a Ramatra, he's just gonna block all the damage. Diva's gonna DM it. It's very tricky. You can play Zarya. Reinhardt shield is a lot. Sigma will just exist. Everybody's just so tanky. You know, everybody's just so tanky. I've won some games with Roadhog. I like playing Roadhog, but only if I feel like you pick Roadhog to counter somebody. So for instance, if you're playing Roadhog against Winston, yes. Roadhog against Ball, yes. But if you're playing Roadhog against Ramatra, I'm like, ugh. You know what I mean? And at number 1, I wanna, this is a little bit controversial, but in my opinion, I think that Mauga's probably the biggest loser in the mid-season patch for tanks. At number 1, in top 500, it is, all we're doing is that we're poking him out. This is an unorganized team play, okay? It's not in... I think that when there's gonna be a tournament, we might see some Mauga strategies. Everybody 3-2-1 go in. But Mauga's kind of like... you want to dive with him. You know what I mean? You want to dive, you want to go 3, 2, 1, dive in, and you can really poke him out really hard before the fight starts. And the fact that his damage resistance, his E, cardiac overdrive, although it gives you 100% lifesteal, it only lasts for 3 seconds. It was 5 seconds before, now it's only 3 seconds. So what's gonna happen is, you're gonna shoot Mauga, fight is gonna start, he's gonna use E. Okay, fine. 1, 2, 3, walk in. You know what I mean? Again, this is just, in my games, in GM / in top 500, is what I'm seeing. You just bait out his E, or wait for his E, survive 3 seconds, and then he's probably gonna be dead over there. He's probably gonna be dead. Alright, before I move on though, I want to show you a clip, right? And this is just incredibly strong, right? 100% damage, not damage resistance, lifesteal. This is just insane. Mauga has to land the shots. He's Bastion is damage boosted. I think there's a Discord on Mauga. The window, it's just a lot. It's just a lot, but somehow he just regenerates HP. But realistically speaking, in GM, I feel like Maugas are not gonna be caught in this position. They gotta land the shots, and everybody's just gonna run away and kite him out. 3 seconds, go back in. That's it. Not to mention, and with this I'm gonna finalize the tanks, okay? And I'm gonna move on to DPSs. Just a very small example. D.Va's defense matrix is 3.5 seconds. So if you're playing Mauga versus D.Va versus Mauga, use a Z, just right click. I'm not kidding, it's 3.5 seconds, bro. If you're playing Ramatra versus Mauga, right? Oh, he's gonna start shooting at you with his Z, just block. You know what I mean, dude? It's a lot. It's a lot. Sigma has the shield, has the suck. It's a lot. So Zarya has the bubbles. It's just a ton. So I think that Mauga actually doesn't work right now that much. Anyway, and number 3, this is a surprise for me, but it does make sense if you think about it. Ashe. I'm gonna put Ashe at number 3. I'm seeing a lot of Ashe being played, and there are a couple of reasons for that. Number 1, Bobby got the tank passive. Bobby's a tank. If you sleep dart Bob, he stays goes to sleep for 3 seconds. You can't boop him as much as before because he has the tank passive. Bobby is very annoying to play against. Secondly, Dynamite is super good right now against Armor. Dynamite is super good against Ilagi. You've seen a lot of Ilagi being played. You know when there's an Ilagi and she puts a pylon over there on the corner? Well, fine. Throw the TNT. Destroy the pylon, that's it. Number 3, in these tanky metas, everybody's staying clumped up together. You know what that means? Free TNTs for you, which means free ult charge. You're gonna do just amazing. Everybody's really tanky. They're not playing with really fast heroes to go and get to you. You can do kind of well against the other heroes that are gonna be in the number 1 that I'm gonna dive into a second, because you're kind of like a sniper. And the Cassidy nerf also helps Ashe being played a little bit more, because I feel like her range is better than Cassidy's. So I gotta put Ashe over here at number 3. Again, a surprise pick, but Ashe I feel like hasn't been played that much in Overwatch 2, so I'm happy to see her as one of the winners in the mid-season 11 patch. And number 2, it's true, Tracer, consistent, one of the most strong DPSs in the game, has been throughout the years. Tracer can still do everything. I feel like unless Tracer receives some very heavy nerfs, Tracer's gonna be picked almost all the time. She's not optimal on every map and in every team comp, but she's just reliable. The same as how Sigma is reliable for tank mains, Tracer is reliable for DPS mains. You can force point, you can have huge 1v1 potential, you can push the payload, you can off angle with somebody. You don't need any support from your team. You can just play your own game, or you can play with your teammates. Tracer's just consistently good. Not to mention that with everybody just being so tanky and stuff, Tracer does an incredible job at staying alive in the team fights, right? The team fights are lasting for a very long time, and sometimes I'm not even surprised when I see Tracers get maybe 2 pulse bombs in one team fight. I know I'm pushing this, but I've had team fights that might last a minute or so, and I swear she's getting her ultimates so fast. The longer the fight goes, Tracer is very annoying, can reposition very easily, can swap targets very easily. And in the game that we're playing right now, in which it's more like, it's not like very explosive 3, 2, 1, let's go. It's kind of like we're shooting him, he's low, Tracer, go! And then Tracer finishes that kill. So Tracer's target changeability, if that's a word, is what it, in my opinion, works really well right now. And at number 1, we've all been suffering the last couple of weeks. I have to put 2 heroes over here. I spend half of the time looking in the sky because Farah and Echo are the 2 strongest DPSs and winners in this mid-season patch. Everybody is very tanky. Cassidy got a nerf, a range nerf. Even if you play counters to these heroes, like, I don't know, you want to play with Widowmaker, for example, or I don't even know, you want to play Soldier or Cassidy, they're going to stay really away from you, spam you out. They're going to do a ton of damage from no matter the distance. If they want to play long range, perfect. If they want to play close range, perfect. Copy got buffed a while ago, so you can get your ultimate faster, I think, than before. Farah's E is negligible, like the nerf that she got is absolutely negligible. It's about the rocket spam that she just provides. And that's about it. I'll be honest with you, like, these 2 are super strong right now. If you want to get some very, very easy, in my opinion, elo, you want to climb in rank, just play these 2 heroes, and oh my god, you're gonna see that you're gonna be winning a lot of games. And don't approach the games by just one playstyle. I'm gonna stay up close and spam them out. No, you can change. You can even play on the floor. You can play close to them. You can play long range. You can play medium range. You can play being pocketed. You can play being completely ignored. It doesn't even matter. Adapt your playstyle not based on what your teammates have, but what the enemies have. If they have counters for you, play a little bit safer. Play against the laggy Widowmaker. A little bit safer, smarter. Boom, go in. If they have nothing for you, oh, sure, fine. I'm just going to spam them non-stop. I'm going to sit in the sky. Nobody can do anything to me. Now, the top 3 biggest losers in this patch for DPSs. So, at number 3, I hope I'm not going to do the same thing for supports, but at number 3, and the biggest losers in this patch for DPSs, I would have to put Torbjorn and Sojourn over here. I am not winning games with Torbjorn and Sojourn my team. Reason why Torbjorn, first of all, I feel like both of them are for the same reasons. They do some damage and stuff, but they can't quite finish kills. They can't quite explode. And their poke, it's better to play other heroes that are better at poke. Torbjorn can kind of work maybe if Farah and Echo would not be played that much, and Ashe would not be played maybe. Like, why play Torbjorn? Can just go Ashe and poke them a lot. Right now, as you can see in the DPS department, I feel like poke DPSs, at least from my experience, do a lot. So, why play Torbjorn and poke them out? Turret is gonna get destroyed very easily. In theory, you could play Torb against the tanks and stuff, right? But he's just gonna get run over. Tanks are just raid bosses. You're not gonna do enough damage to actually be able to do anything. And still tied up with this, Sojourn. I think Sojourn's nerf was a little bit unnecessary. The one that she got, I think, last patch, before mid-season patch. I'm not seeing a lot of Sojourn being played. You're better off playing other heroes. Ashe is just like a better Sojourn right now. You just cannot secure kills. You're gonna spam, and everybody's gonna ignore the spam that you're providing. And it's just very hard to secure kills. And number 2, I'm gonna put Sim. I have my doubts because in theory, Symmetra can kind of be okay against a very tanky meta, right? You can get up close and personal and brawl with them and whatever, right? You can charge your beam, you can do some huge TPs to counter people, to, I don't know, Zarya uses Graviton TP out, you can use your Sim wall, everything's fine. And maybe you can also just, I don't know, Diva's in front of you, just beam the Diva away. But what I'm saying is that if the brawl begins, Sim will probably die. You know, I feel like her the way that she stays alive in team fights is not sufficient for like these very long fights, even though she's gonna be fully charged up. And I personally love playing with a Sim and Pocket Ink and Sim in this. The poke that she provides before the fight even begins is not as big as the poke that other DPSs are providing right now. And secondly, if you literally start the fight, you'd better go with other heroes that can stay alive a little bit more over here. Not to mention that even though you're gonna get your beam fully charged, they're just gonna run away and exist a little bit. Your targets are not gonna do that much in this meta. Your TP will be very easily destroyed. And the one thing with Sim is that you also need a lot of team coordination to maybe pull this off. And at number 1, Hanzo. Hanzo is still the biggest loser in this patch. I don't know when you play Hanzo. I don't know why you'd play Hanzo. Even if you, let's say, spam your E on tanks, you better gotta tickle them. You cannot one-shot your Sonic Arrow, so what? It gives you wall hack from time to time for your teammates to use, but for what reason? Your Dragon can be denied by Defense Matrix, can be blocked a lot by Ramatra. Everybody's tanky. Sigma can maybe deny your dragon as well. It's just I really don't know when you play Hanzo. It's pretty rough for Hanzo mains right now. It's pretty rough for Hanzo mains as like the biggest loser in this patch. I think that he needs some buffs soon. I don't know what you can do to him. If they really don't want to give him a one shot, I don't know, bro. I really don't know. Hanzo needs some help. This would be like the biggest losers. And number 3, I'm gonna put Kiriko. I did not expect Kiriko to be that strong in mid-season patch, but the reality is when the game is just go and eliminate the supports non-stop, then survivability is king, and Kiriko just provides that. You have the Suzu that you can use for yourself, you have the teleport to run away, you can heal your teammates from almost every distance, you can land some random kunai shots, your support damage doesn't matter that much right now if you're not playing Gilagi, which we're gonna get into a second. You will eventually get your ultimate, and your ultimate is still one of the strongest ultimates in the game. From my experience, you pick Kiriko, you heal bot 90% to 95% of the times, try to run away, and press Q2 or 3 times per game, and that's it. You're probably gonna win the game. Hopefully win the game. But that's literally Kiriko in a nutshell. If you die a lot on support right now, pick Kiriko or the support I'm gonna put at number 1. And number 2 and 3, this is very, very, very hard for me to decide between them. So I'm gonna put them in both the same spots. I know that they started as top 3 winners in this patch, but I'm gonna put Ilagi and Bop. I'm decided on this. I'm gonna put Ilagi and Bop for the same, roughly the same reasons. So let's go first with Baptiste. Baptiste works until you die a lot and then you swap to Kiri. Baptiste works because he's one of the only ones that has enough sustain to actually be able to keep people alive in the team fights. Problem is, your range damage fall off is pretty rough against Farah, against Echo. If they decide to dive you and then rush, you're just gonna die. But if you're really good at Baptiste, you can get value out of him. I'm not having as many results as him as before. I think it's harder to play in this meta when everybody can just run you down, and his escape is probably not the best one. Like, yeah, you can get to high ground and stuff, but you can't like TP to walls like Keiko can. So my recommendation if you play Flake support is start with Baptiste and then swap to Kiri if you die a lot. And Ilagi over here, massive shout out to Ilagi because I'm seeing Ilagi being played a lot, and I think that one of the reasons, actually the main reason why Ilagi is being played is not necessarily because of the buffs that she got to her pylon, right? With increased HP, she also got a nerf to the pylon a while ago in which you heal yourself for less, so it encourages you to stay more with your teammates rather than off angle. It's because of the top strongest DPSs right now in the game, which are Echo and Farah. You can throw the pylon and shoot them in the sky. You're still gonna help your teammates, and for that time you're gonna heal them as well with your right click. Literally, throw the pylon in a safe spot. Pylon positioning with Ilagi right now is, I would say, 75% of her gameplay. 75% of her gameplay, and then look up. If you're playing Ilagi against other DPSs or other team comps in which you do not see Farah or Echo being played, then you will probably see that you can kind of struggle against, like with her in your team or yourself. So if you see Echo or Farah, yes, go Ilagi. If you want to play Ilagi into other heroes, give it a shot. But from my observations, I think that she just excels against these 2 flying DPSs. She's very easy to run down. Play Baptiste Ilagi versus Baptiste Lucio comps. Oh my god, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. That's it. And then at number 1, and this is just for ranked, but more for coordinated, better said for coordinated gameplay, I think Lucio is still like the biggest winner in this patch because tanks are tanky, but tanks sometimes have a problem. They have to get to you. And what does Lucio do? Lucio speed boosts you. Speed boost is insane right now. I'm not kidding. Everybody benefits from speed boost. Just everybody go together, speed boost. Find isolated targets. You don't even have to speed boost your teammates right now. This is a little bit easier than before. You just have to speed boost your tank. I've lost so many games in which there's a Lucio sitting next to the tank, speed boost the tank into you. Even if, you know, like before this patch, there was a problem if your Baptiste or Kiriko would not follow up on you speed boosting your tank around, because your tank would get not exploded, it would just take you 30 minutes to kill them. Well, right now, you don't even have to do that, I feel like. They are so tanky that Lucio plus the tank, speed boost into the backline, do the calls, perfect. Another thing for Lucio is also the fact that there's a lot of poke going around. Lucio can survive a lot, can avoid a lot of the poke by just wall riding. And you will just get your ultimate super fast because you're just existing with your healing aura around them, right? Trust me. Play Lucio, you don't have to be incredibly good mechanically with him. You will get value, but play around your tank and speed boost the tank around onto targets. A quick tip, ping targets when you speed boost, because maybe your teammates are going to be focusing the targets that you see if you don't want to talk in voice chat, that you see are out of position or that you want to focus in team fights. This is just an incredibly strong pick. Let's finalize this. Top 3 losers for support in the mid-season, after the mid-season 11 patch. And number 3, I'm going to have to put Ana. Ana got a huge, absolutely huge, I'm trolling, nerf. Unnecessary nerf. Let's be honest, to her sleep dart from 3.5 seconds duration against tanks to 3 seconds duration against tanks. You're probably not going to be noticing that much unless you sleep dart somebody. You sleep dart, let's say, a Winston and then run to a health pack. He's going to wake up faster and chase and eliminate you. It's not because of this that I put out at number 3. It's because right now I think that you can play Ana, you can land a lot of shots, but if you look for a nade, it's probably not going to matter that much because everybody's really tanky. If you use the nade for yourself, you're probably going to die afterwards anyway. You're going to have a good Ana game until you have to reload. That's it. You can have a good Ana game, you reload, somebody dies, GG's, it's over. I think she needs either more healing / damage for her bullets, or faster reload time, or mobility. Mobility could also work. If, let's say, you're playing Ana and you're not having high ground, you're not really good at positioning with her, you will just get gunned down consistently, and there's nothing you can do about it with Granny right now. And Ana Brig, ain't no way you can survive that. Ain't no way. So play on high ground, stay really away from the tanks, and that's about it. And even, okay, and I'm seeing some chatting chatters. Hear me out before I move on. Even if you land a nade, it doesn't matter that much right now. It doesn't matter. It's on a long cooldown. It's very easy to kite. Everybody's really tanky. Everybody. A lot of heroes have a lot of ways of denying the nade. And it's on a really big cooldown, dude. Really big cooldown. You have to play super well. And you're gonna see 1 or 2 magazines, then you're gonna reload, then you're probably gonna die. That's it. Okay, at number 2, I'm gonna put Lifeweaver. Lifeweaver needs help. Blizzard, please. It's been more than a year since his release. It's been like, what, a year and I don't even know how many months. What, he was released in April. Lifeweaver, I feel like, suffers the same thing as Hanzo. When would you pick Lifeweaver? Lifeweaver cannot keep up with the amount of damage that's happening in the game right now. His cooldown's on a very long cooldown. Maybe make his pull available once every 10 seconds. The 3 is, I don't know, maybe let him do stuff to the enemies. I don't know when you'd pick Lifeweaver. The only time I've seen Lifeweaver being played in 2 situations in which you can actually get value out of him. So here are the 2 situations if you play Lifeweaver. Against Zarya. If you see Zarya, you're better off playing other supports, but if you really want to force it, you can play Lifeweaver. Against and with Zarya. Why? Battle platform, good for giving Zarya mobility, because you can get high ground. And for other tanks as well for that matter, but for Zarya especially, to counter her, because if Zarya uses Graviton, you can lift your teammates up, you can use your tree to block some of the incoming damage in the Graviton surge, you can use your pull, obviously, to save somebody from it, and another situation in which I'd play Lifeweaver, you can kind of get away with it. I'm not trolling you with this. There is some potential. If you don't want to play Ilagi, maybe play Lifeweaver. Because I think that when Ilagi ults, if you use your Tree of Life, the ultimate does absolutely nothing. Ilagi's ult will probably not do anything if you use your tree for Ilagi's ult. So if there is an Ilagi that's literally taking control over the lobby, somehow, and the tank is not just destroying everybody, plant the tree. When Ilagi throws the sun at you, trees love the sun, and you're gonna get a lot of value. This is it. Okay, and number 1, Mercy. I'm gonna put Mercy at number 1. Mercy needs some help. I don't know what you can do to Mercy in this situation. Maybe increase the damage boost. It's not the fact that you can catch Mercy in fights. I mean, obviously you can catch Mercy in fights non-stop. If D.Va shifts to you and presses E, you're dead. I don't know what you can do to her right now. She's in a really rough spot. Pocketing doesn't work that much right now, especially after Pharah's rework. If Pharah would have not been reworked, I think Mercy would have been played from time to time right now, even in this very tanky meta, because Mercy is super good with Ashe and super good with Pharah, but it's just like too much sustain, too much everything. I think that Mercy just doesn't work right now. at all. Doesn't work at all. The ultimate feels very weak. I feel like Mercy's ultimate is very at the moment. Maybe this is what's happening. Even though it's AoE, I think it's pretty weak. And that's about it for top 3 winners and top 3 losers after this mid-season 11 patch. For each role, please let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, and why. And let's hope that we can win a lot of games. We can win a lot of games, get back to champion, and pop off. Enjoy the content. Make sure to subscribe. Till next time, ML7 out. Okay, top 3 winners and top 3 losers for each role after the mid-season batch. Season 11 mid-season batch. We're gonna go role by role. I have not been thinking a lot about this, so I'm gonna be going based on my feelings and my experiences in ranked games that I've been playing a lot since mid-season dropped. We're gonna be going first top 3 winners for tanks, top 3 losers for tanks, then gonna be moving on to the DPSs, and at the end, the ones that just exist, also known as supports in this patch. So, top 3 winners this patch from what I've seen. Okay, for tanks, I kind of like have them in mind. I'm gonna go with the following picks. At number 3, I'm gonna put Sigma. I'm gonna be putting Sigma at number 3. What happened? Hello? Wait, did the camera just break? Are you kidding me? The camera broke? What the f— Did the camera die?
Hey, I'm Olaf. If you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. Meow.